Hey, I lost my debit card. Do you guys do instant replacement? What just happened?
Check your wallet.
No. No way. Your debit card should arrive in 7 to 10 business days.
It's time to bank human again. Get debit cards on the spot and no monthly fee checking with just a $100 minimum balance at TD Bank, America's most convenient bank.
Hi again, everyone, and we welcome you to another edition of the Coach Chuck Driesell Show, as we've got a lot to talk about with the coach here in this particular program. And first of all, Coach, since the last time we were together, you've had some down-to-the-wire ball games, Furman, ETSU. Let's start talking about those because last-second games take some character to win, and your team had the character to win those two ball games.
Yeah, we try to do that on purpose, Mike, make the fans happy and make them feel like they're getting their money's worth. And it makes for an exciting evening, as you and I can both attest to. Down at Furman, I thought the guys played an exceptional basketball game, having lost to them the first time here. They're a good basketball team, and we had to do a really good job on the defensive end. But ultimately, we always got to put the ball in the hole. And when we do that, we have a chance to win. And boy, it was exciting. I was most impressed with how we played in the overtime. Going into overtime, you never know which way that thing's going to go. It's the team that sometimes gets the first shot or just has the lucky break here or there. But we seem to have a lot of energy left, a lot of focus, and we started right off out of the gates in the overtime and made some good buckets and then kind of put the game away. So that was a great experience for our guys, and certainly something that they can learn from if we're put in that situation in the tournament, in an overtime situation, how important it is to get off to a good start. East Tennessee State was a team that, they were vying for fourth place coming into our gym, and they had a 16-10 record, 8-8 in the conference at that time. And it beat us. It wasn't much. It was a good game down there, but I mean it wasn't close to the point where we could have maybe pulled it out there at the end. But I thought we got into a really big hole the first time we played them, and then we built our way out of it. We cut it down to 4, and then they just kind of held on from there. So the key was to get off to a good start here, and we did that. And it was nip and tuck all the way back and forth, even down to the last wire. And boy, it was fun, and it couldn't have happened to a better guy, Ashton Moore, putting himself in that position where he went down and hit the game-winning shot, and we come off the court with a great win. Yeah,
it was a great experience there because they score with about 8 seconds to go in the ETSU game, and no timeouts left. You're forced to just move it up the court and get what you can get. He created something, makes a big shot.
Yeah, and those are situations we practice in practice, we talk about, but ultimately it comes down to a good player or a great player making that play and making that tough shot with pressure on the horn, and Ashton did that, and that's not the first time he's done it. He did it down at Samford. We were in a similar situation. Although we had a timeout, we were able to set something up and design something, and he got the ball. But again, players have to make the shot. The plays are great, but the players have to end up making the shot with that kind of pressure on them. And those are two games I'm sure Ashton will remember for quite some time.
The Furman win in overtime was the second overtime road win in the league for the Bulldogs. They also had one back in early January when they took on UNCG. So we've talked a little bit about Ashton Moore, but wanted to talk about him obviously a little bit more because the game against Western Carolina was senior day here, and so not just Ashton Moore, but P.J. Horgan and Marshall Harris III playing their final games here at McAllister Fieldhouse, some guys that'll be awfully hard to replace.
They will be, and not just from a basketball standpoint, but also from a leadership standpoint. That's the wonderful thing about the Citadel. These young men come here and they compete on on the highest athletic stage that they can, but at the same time, while they're not competing or playing sports, they are becoming leaders, and they're developing traits and characteristics that when they leave here, they are a phenomenal product. And these 3 young men are no exception to that rule. They will leave here well prepared to be successful. Replacing, you never really think you can replace any senior. They come with their own identity, their own strengths and their own weaknesses, and they mold those in there and they bring them to the team. And we'll miss all three of them for their own specific reasons. But they've had a great run here. And again, sometimes you always talk about what they've done on the court, and that's important. But these young men have been phenomenal in the locker room. They've been phenomenal out in the core, in the classroom. They're cumulative between the three of them. GPA is a 3.4. That's hard to do, and juggle all the things that we ask them to do on the court and in the core. And they're just fine young men, and they've been fun to coach for me for 4 years. And I told them yesterday, I'm thanking you for all the hard work and effort you've put in. You've done exactly what I've asked you to do, and no coach can ask anything more from his players than that. One
of the things I would think would be the most gratifying about your job would be to watch these young men come in as fourth-class guys and then make their way into seniors, and seeing it from the beginning. There's good, there's bad, there's middle of the road type of stuff, but is that one of the more gratifying things that comes with the coaching business?
Yeah, it really is, and probably the one word that I think that I see the most in these young men that is really satisfying is confidence. And as we all know, confidence can make the world a difference in any individual, in any profession, in any field. If you have confidence, you feel good about yourself, you're going to do some great things. And these young men came in here as freshmen, and I can remember those pictures and their faces, and I don't think either one of them didn't want to stick around too much longer, but they did, and they just slowly but surely over time developed a confidence about themselves that will serve them when they leave here.
So a good group of seniors that have played their final game at McAllister Fieldhouse. Obviously, we want to see some more work out of them as moving toward the Southern Conference Tournament, which we'll talk about coming up in just a little bit. This was a big week in terms of awards. On Tuesday, they were announced. You had a couple of different guys, Ashton Moore and Jake Wright, who were honored by the league either in a vote by the coaches or by the media, or in some cases both. And so let's start with Ashton Moore. He's a first-team all-conference player. Probably one of the easiest things to do for someone who's voting would be, whether you see him play all of his games or not, would be to vote him onto that team. Obviously one of the best players in the league, and so Ashton is one of the guys who lands on the 10-man all-conference team from the coaches, and the media puts him on the 5-man first team. And so really great year, and he gets rewarded for it.
He really does, and I think when you look at those awards, I know that people, because I vote for those myself, you always try to look at and vote for a young man based on what he does for his team. It's not always is he a great player, but what does he mean to that team, and if he wasn't on that team, how would that team look like? And I think that's one of the reasons why Ashton was first team, because I think when people saw us play and they saw the type of season we had, we were picked to come in last. We came in 7th. It's a pretty big jump. Sure. We lost going into that season one of the best players in the league. So imagine Ashton thinking, okay, I needed to be good this year, but now I got to be really good, and for him to step up and have the consistency that he had all season long, and to move us from 10th to 7th says a lot about him and the type of season he had and how hard he worked that summer. He knew he was going to have a great year for us to have any chance at all. And so he's well deserving of that award, and I'm really proud of it.
And then there's Jake Wright, the freshman sharpshooter who landed on the all-freshman team. And there were a lot of very talented freshmen in the league. Furman had some guys. There were other guys around the league who were talented. But again, to go back to what you said about Ashton Moore, look at freshmen who had an impact on their team, and I think you got to put Jake on that team.
Yeah, boy, we needed him to come in and shoot the ball well for us. That's what he does well. There's a lot of pressure on him, but I don't think that ever affected him at all. I think he came here and knew he was going to be able to contribute right away and make an impact. Getting here and doing it is another thing. So the confidence is tremendous for Jake, and that's why he's as good as he is. It didn't start off all peaches and cream for him either. Now, he barely played the first couple games. He was still trying to make the adjustment to being in college. But one thing that didn't change with him, and that is his work ethic. He was always in the gym, still is, first in, last out, always trying to find time to get shots up, to work on his game. And boy, when he came out of his shell and he started hitting shots and the feel for it started to come, he's my starter. He's averaging 30-some minutes a game, so that's a huge accomplishment for a freshman at any level. And he's the third freshman in a row this year. I mean, 3 years in a row we've had someone be on the all-freshman team, and he's certainly deserving of it.
A lot of the fans are going to see Jake Wright put up a lot more shots, do a lot more things on the basketball court. So now let's let you take a little bit more of an inside look with Jake Wright.
I would say the biggest difference is just the pace. The players are better, they're quicker, they jump higher. That's everyone's good, High school, there's some players that are not so good, and you can get by with stuff in high school that you can't get by with at the college level. Well, it did take me a while. I didn't start off the season stellar or anything. I think I missed my first 11 shots or something. But it took time, and but I think I slowly, by playing more and more minutes, I kind of found my rhythm, which is, I think, something that's critical for everyone to be successful. You need to find their rhythm. So, it just took some time. I was, kind of rushing my shot, among other things. But yeah, once I found my rhythm, it really helped me out and allowed me to adjust to the pace. Once you hit those first one or two, it's just my confidence is just going through the roof. And any open look, I feel like I can knock it down. And it comes with the preparation I do, and I take pride in shooting and stuff. So my confidence is already pretty high, but once I hit 2 or 3, that confidence just goes up and up and up. That's something I've always done. If I go into a practice or something and I haven't, shot in a while, which is rare, but it has happened sometimes. It just doesn't feel right. It's just something I feel is a necessity for me to play at my, to shoot as well as I shoot, and to play at the level I play at is just that preparation. So, now it's just something I do without even thinking about. It's just part of my routine. I just kind of go in and do it. But it started probably back in about 4th or 5th grade. I would always get to practice about half an hour to 45 minutes early with my dad. And it started there. My dad would rebound for me. And, we just kept doing that and kept doing that. I think I started off, I was only 150 that I would make back then. But then slowly but surely that number, as I got older, got higher and higher. And then, now, obviously, 4th and 5th grade didn't have that gun, the luxury to be able to get that many shots up. And, it's a great machine. I'm thankful we have that, and I try to use it as much as I can. So, I do that every day before practice.
We want to thank Jake Wright for sitting down with us and telling us a little bit more about him and his goals toward his basketball career at the Citadel. Well, now it's March, so we bring on the madness. March Madness is here. Conference tournaments. It's funny, it used to just be an NCAA tournament thing. Now it's kind of conference tournament thing. It all wraps into March Madness. And so it's only fitting that the longest rivalry in the Southern Conference that you have would be your first round matchup in the tournament. So here comes Furman, a team you've played twice, a team that beat you on your home floor. You beat them, as we talked about a little bit earlier on. Let's talk about the Southern Conference tournament itself, getting ready to go into league tournament play, coach, and the mindset there. And then let's talk about the Furman Paladins, the team you'll play.
Well, I think everybody gets excited about this this tournament. It's an opportunity to do something that you'll remember for a lifetime. I still remember when I was a player at Maryland when we won the ACC tournament. And those are tremendous feats to be able to pull off, to win a certain number of games in a certain number of days with all your peers and all your teams all together. It's just a neat environment, and that's what we'll have this weekend. I'm sure every team has set the goal to win it. So there's going to be a lot of competitiveness out there. It's one of our goals, and we open up with Furman. And really everybody knows everybody by now. We've all played each other twice, the way the league is set up this year, and it really comes down to just refreshing the guys' memories about who can do what they like to do on the defensive end, the offensive end, what works well for us on the offensive against their defense, and then the little nuances we might put in defensively to go against their things. You do a little film, you get some things worked out on the court, and then you just got to go down there fresh. And you got to be focused. You can't let the moment take you away. We always talk about that. You know, it is an exciting moment. You know, you got to be fired up, be excited, but at the same time, you got to be focused and you've got to execute, because those are the teams. That's what it takes to win, and that's all that goes into the preparation this week. Is just trying to get guys' mindsets in the right place, understand who your opponent is, not worry about the next game. You know, there's no next game unless you win that game, and that's true for everybody, even the first place team. It's fun, it's exciting. I know our guys are looking forward to the challenge, and we'll go down there and go at Furman as hard as we can and hope to get to the next round.
I know this happened a while back, November actually, but you do have a point of reference where you've played more than one game in a very short period of time. The All-Military Classic, November the 14th, November the 15th, you play 2 games in a 24-hour stretch. Now you double that going into the conference tournament if you look at it that way, but again, and I know that's why you put some of those games on the schedule, is it so you do have an ability to work on things like that. You can draw from that experience going into the tournament.
You can, and also in addition to, you know, the way our league is set up, Thursday, Saturday games, and particularly here at home, we changed our Saturday games to 1 o'clock. There's not a lot of rest in between, so I don't think it'll be any. I don't think one team will have an advantage over the other in terms of dealing with that situation. I think we're all prepared for it. It's just a matter of who can handle it the best, and who can. There's going to be some fatigue out there. There's going to be some breakdowns. You just got to fight through it, and that's what players and teams train for all year long. So again, it'll come down to not what the other team does. It's what we've been working on all year long and how well we do it during the course of the tournament.
We hope to see you at the U.S. Cellular Center in Asheville, North Carolina. The Southern Conference Tournament gets underway on March the 6th. Comes to an end on March the 9th, and the Citadel Bulldogs will be trying to make this the first of 2 tournaments that they play in, maybe moving on to the NCAA tournament after that one. For Coach Chuck Driesell, I'm Mike Legg. Thanks so much for joining us this time on the Coach Chuck Driesell Show.